Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shaquille, and I'm so glad to have you here. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful and defining moments in history, the Declaration of Independence, 1776, the bold step that gave birth to a nation and inspired freedom movements all around the world. Let's begin our journey. Before we talk about the Declaration of Independence itself, it's important to understand the background that led to its creation. The American colonies were once proud to be part of the British Empire, but by the mid-1700s, their relationship with Britain had begun to change dramatically. The British government, heavily in debt after the French and Indian War, looked to the colonies as a source of revenue. New taxes, such as the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts, were imposed without the colonists having any representation in the British Parliament. This gave rise to the powerful slogan, "No taxation without representation." The colonists began to feel that their basic rights as Englishmen were being ignored. They had no voice in making the laws that affected their daily lives. They were required to pay heavy taxes, trade only with Britain, and even quarter British soldiers in their homes. This sense of injustice built resentment and anger throughout the colonies. Events like the Boston Massacre in 1770 and the Boston Tea Party in 1773 further deepened the divide. To many colonists, it became clear that Britain was not treating them as equal partners, but rather as subjects to be controlled. Pamphlets like Thomas Paine's Common Sense argued that independence was not only possible, but necessary for the colonies to secure true freedom. By 1775, fighting had already broken out at Lexington and Concord. The colonists realized they were no longer just protesting unfair taxes. They were engaged in a struggle for their rights and their future. This growing determination set the stage for the historic step taken in 1776, declaring independence from Britain and beginning the journey of a new nation. On July 4, 1776, a moment occurred that would forever change the course of history. Inside the Pennsylvania State House in Philadelphia, now famously known as Independence Hall, delegates from the 13 American colonies gathered to make a bold and irreversible decision. After months of debates, drafts, and heated discussions, the Continental Congress officially adopted the Declaration of Independence. This was not an easy choice. Declaring independence meant openly breaking away from the most powerful empire in the world at that time. It was considered treason against the British crown, and the punishment for treason was death. Yet the delegates understood that freedom required courage, and they were willing to risk everything, their wealth, their families, and even their lives, for the chance to secure liberty. The adoption of the Declaration on July 4th symbolized the birth of a new nation. For the first time, the colonies were no longer identifying themselves as British subjects, but as united Americans. The decision was revolutionary not only in a political sense but also in a moral one. It sent a message that people had the right to govern themselves, free from tyranny and oppression. Though the war for independence would continue for several more years, July 4, 1776, marked the official beginning of America's journey as an independent nation. That date has since become a symbol of freedom, celebrated every year with fireworks, parades, and gatherings. Among the many men who gathered to shape America's destiny, one figure stood out as the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson. At just 33 years old, Jefferson was one of the youngest delegates in the Continental Congress. When the task of drafting the Declaration was assigned to a committee, Jefferson's peers, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston, chose him to prepare the first draft. Jefferson drew inspiration from Enlightenment thinkers such as John Locke, who believed in natural rights, life, liberty, and property. Jefferson transformed these ideas into something uniquely American, penning the famous words that all men are created equal and are endowed with the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The draft did not remain untouched. John Adams and Benjamin Franklin suggested edits, and the Continental Congress as a whole debated and revised Jefferson's original text. Some of his stronger criticisms against the British monarchy, particularly those condemning the slave trade, were removed to secure unity among the colonies. Despite these changes, the heart of Jefferson's vision remained intact, a clear declaration that the colonies were free and independent states. Jefferson's contribution went far beyond writing. His words gave shape to the values that would define the American nation. At the heart of the Declaration of Independence lie the timeless principles that continue to define America's identity. These were not merely complaints against Britain, but bold statements about human rights and the true purpose of government. Today, the Declaration remains a symbol of courage and hope. It reminds us that freedom is not given, it is claimed. It challenges every generation to protect liberty and extend justice. Its global influence proves that the birth of one nation in 1776 helped inspire the pursuit of freedom for all mankind. And that, my friends, is the story of the Declaration of Independence, the bold decision that gave birth to a nation and inspired freedom across the globe. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories every week. This is Shaquille signing off. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep learning.